What if I told you that having 100 options to choose from doesn't make you free, but actually makes you a prisoner of your own brain? Think about the last time you opened a streaming app after a brutal day at work. You just wanted to unwind, but instead, you spent 45 minutes scrolling through endless categories, watching trailers, reading descriptions, and growing more anxious by the second until you finally gave up, closed the app, and went to sleep feeling completely defeated. Or think about standing in front of a massive, double-sided restaurant menu with 50 different items, feeling the eyes of the waiter burning into your skull while your mind goes completely blank. Why does having exactly what we thought we wanted, unlimited choice, make us feel so profoundly stressed, paralyzed, and ready to run away? It is a deeply exhausting way to live. If you are feeling burnt out by the sheer volume of decisions you have to make every single day, I want you to know that you are not broken and you are not alone. We are going to break down the 3 hidden psychological traps that explain exactly why our brains collapse under the weight of too many alternatives. The final trap we will uncover is the most dangerous one because it is secretly sabotaging your personal relationships and your self-esteem at this very moment. More importantly, by the time we reach the end of our conversation, I am going to share the exact mental framework that saved me from my own paralyzing burnout so you can finally reclaim your mental energy and protect your peace of mind. To understand why we are all suffering from this quiet epidemic of decision fatigue, we have to peel back the layers of how our brains were actually built, starting with the most obvious surface-level trap. Let us look at the first reason why too many options destroy our happiness. It's a concept psychologists call decision fatigue, which is the literal, physical exhaustion of your brain's executive function after making choice after choice. See, we like to think of our willpower and our intellect as infinite resources, but they're not. Your brain operates exactly like a smartphone battery. Every single time you compare two things, every time you weigh the pros and cons, every time you decide between product A and product B, your battery drains by another percentage point. Your brain doesn't care if you're deciding on $1 million business merger or just trying to pick between 30 different flavors of potato chips at the grocery store. To your biology, a decision is a decision, and it requires energy. When you force your brain to process a massive menu of options, you are demanding that it run 20 apps simultaneously in the background. Eventually, the battery hits zero, the system overheats, and your subconscious mind screams at you to stop. It triggers a wave of anxiety and stress, forcing you to shut down and walk away entirely just to preserve its remaining survival energy. That brings us directly to the second reason, which cuts a little bit deeper into our emotional psyche. This is the agony of opportunity cost, driven by a deeply hardwired human instinct known as loss aversion. Behavioral economics tells us that the pain of losing something is psychologically twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining that exact same thing. Now, apply that to a situation where you have too many choices. When you have only 2 options, let's say vanilla or chocolate ice cream, and you choose vanilla, you only have to give up one thing. Your brain can handle that. But what happens when you're standing in front of 32 different artisanal flavors? If you pick vanilla now, you aren't just choosing vanilla. Your brain subconsciously perceives that you are actively losing 31 other potentially amazing experiences. You start torturing yourself with what-ifs. What if the salted caramel was better? What if the mango sorbet was life-changing? The sheer volume of alternatives magnifies your fear of making the wrong choice, turning what should be a joyful moment into a minefield of potential regret. You become so terrified of the imagined loss that your mind freezes, and you decide that choosing nothing at all feels much safer than choosing one thing and mourning the loss of 100 others. But now, let us descend to the absolute core of the issue, into the third and most destructive reason of all. This is the hidden psychological trap that bleeds out of our shopping carts and into our careers, our self-worth, and our relationships. It's the curse of escalated expectations. When a market, a menu, or a dating app offers you only a few options, you approach the choice with realistic, humble expectations. If you buy a simple pair of jeans from a local store that only carries 2 styles and they don't fit perfectly, you don't blame yourself, you blame the store. You say, well, they just didn't have my size, and you move on with your life. But when you're presented with a digital landscape of thousands of different brands, cuts, washes, and fits, something toxic happens to your internal logic. You think to yourself, with all these thousands of options available, one of them must be absolutely flawlessly perfect. Your expectations skyrocket to an impossible level, and when you finally make a choice, and that choice turns out to be just ordinary or slightly flawed, as everything in reality is, you don't blame the world anymore, you blame yourself. You experience a crushing sense of personal failure, believing that if you had just searched a little bit longer or been a little bit smarter, you would have found perfection. This endless variety doesn't give us better results, it just guarantees that we are perpetually disappointed with whatever we choose, leaving us trapped in a cycle of chronic regret and self-doubt. So, when you step back and connect all the pieces, you begin to see the grand illusion clearly. Feeling stressed, overwhelmed, and completely paralyzed when facing a massive array of products or choices is not a personal weakness. It's the inevitable collision between a modern world that prophetizes infinite variety and an ancient human brain that was never designed to handle it. You are experiencing a systematic overload caused by a rapidly draining cognitive battery, an instinctual dread of missing out on 100 different fronts, and a heavy burden of impossible expectations that you were never meant to carry. When I first truly understood this reality, it felt like a massive weight was lifted off my chest, but it also forced me to radically change how I live, how I work, and how I build things. If you want to break free from this paralysis and start using this psychological insight to transform your daily existence, we have to look at how to apply it across 3 distinct pillars of life: your personal habits, your professional career, and your business strategy.
In your personal life, the application is all about ruthlessly protecting your cognitive battery from morning until night. I used to waste hours of precious mental energy every week on trivial decisions that didn't matter. Now I practice extreme, radical simplicity. Look at your daily routine. If you want to reduce stress, you need to eliminate low-value choices entirely. Design an unchanging morning ritual. Eat the exact same breakfast every single day. Build a minimal capsule wardrobe where everything matches, so you never have to think about what to wear when you wake up. By outsourcing these meaningless choices to an automatic routine, you save your brain's maximum energy for the things that truly deserve it, like your creative work, your passions, and the people you care about. In your professional career, this mindset shifts how you communicate and project value to the people around you. If you are trying to convince your boss, your team, or a client to approve a project, the worst mistake you can make is dumping a mountain of data and a dozen different pathways on their desk, thinking it makes you look thorough. All you are doing is triggering their decision fatigue and forcing them to run away from you. Instead, you must become a curation mechanism. Do the heavy lifting for them. Narrow down the sea of possibilities and present them with exactly 3 clear, distinct options: a conservative path, an aggressive path, and a balanced path. Explain the precise trade-offs of each and make a definitive recommendation on which one is best. When you give people clarity instead of choices, you immediately stand out as a leader because you are actively saving their mental energy. And if you're running a business, launching a product, or creating content, this psychology is the ultimate lever for unlocking growth. The crowd will always tell you that you need to offer more variety, add more features, and expand your menu to please every single person on Earth. Do not listen to them. True mastery is the art of subtraction. Look at your offerings and find your own version of the power of 3. Group your products into clean, unmistakable tiers, like good, better, and best, or tailor them explicitly to 3 distinct types of users. If your customer has to spend more than 3 seconds trying to understand the difference between your options, you have already lost them. Stop trying to give them endless variety to attract them, and start giving them absolute clarity so they can finally trust you, feel safe, and confidently hit the buy button. Looking back on my own life, I realized that my greatest periods of anxiety always coincided with the times I was trying to keep every single door open, trying to taste every flavor, and trying to optimize every tiny detail. I thought I was being smart, but I was just making myself miserable. True peace of mind doesn't come from having everything available to you. It comes from having the courage to decide what matters and intentionally discarding the rest. Less is not just more. Less is peace. I want to hear from you now in a very honest way. Which of the 3 psychological traps we discussed today do you see playing out most vividly in your own life right now? Is it the physical exhaustion of decision fatigue, the nagging fear of opportunity cost, or the crushing weight of escalated expectations? Leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. If this conversation brought some clarity to your day and felt like a breath of fresh air, please hit the subscribe button, join our community, and share your experience in the comments so we can keep diving deep into the real, unvarnished truths of the human mind together. Thank you for listening. Take care of your brain today, and I will talk to you soon.